Good day, learners! Today, we're going to study about the English 8 Quarter 1 Module 2. But first, I have a question. If you were given an assignment or research by your teacher, where do you usually refer to? Do you read books or visit the internet right away? In doing so, do you pay attention to the information of the source like the author or the title of the book you referred to? In this module, you will learn about the importance and the different ways of citing or recognizing the sources of information through writing a bibliography. In the process, you are to do different activities to recognize the important parts of the sources where you can commonly get information from, such as books, newspapers, and other print and online sources. And as a learner of this module, you are expected to first, define key concepts of bibliography. Second, identify the bibliographic parts of a printed or online source. Third, give importance of citing sources. And lastly, fourth, use various conventions in citing sources. In your past lesson, you learned about context clues and its types, which help you sharpen your word attack skills. Let us recall your knowledge by answering these short questions. You have to read the sentences carefully and determine the meaning of the underlined word through context clues. And the words that are underlined here has something to do with our lesson. Okay, so let's start. For number 1, in doing your research paper, you have to make sure that you use information taken from reliable sources. The underlined word is reliable, and these are the choices. A. Common, B. Intelligent, C. Trustworthy, or D. Understandable. Time's up. Let's check your answer. The answer for number 1 is C. Trustworthy. Number 2. Scholarly published articles are good sources of reliable information. The underlined word is scholarly. The choices are A. Academically, B. Professionally, C. Timely, or D. Wisely. Time's up. Let's check your work. The answer is letter A. Academically. Number 3. If you have taken an information from a certain website, do not forget to cite it in your paper as your source. The underlined word is cite. The choices are A. Acknowledge, B. Appreciate, C. Discuss, or D. Underline. Time's up. Let's check your work. The answer is letter A. Acknowledge. Number 4. You can be easily accused of plagiarizing other authors' work if you will not cite your sources. The underlined word is plagiarizing. The choices are A. Copying, B. Repeating, C. Robbing, or D. Stealing. Time's up. The answer is letter D. Stealing. Number 5. One way of citing your sources is to include a bibliography of these sources in a separate page of your research paper. The underlined word is bibliography. The choices are copy of other studies, B. List of scientific research, C. Worksheet of different sources, or D. List of related sources of information. Time's up. The answer is letter D, list of related sources of information. We're done. So how many of you got a perfect score? I hope all of you got a perfect score. And please take note that in the activity you have just answered, you came across these phrases. Use information taken from reliable sources, cite your sources, and include a bibliography of these sources. So when doing a research or assignment, is it really important to use reliable information? Do we really need to cite the source of information? So how will we do it? Let's find out by first defining what bibliography is. So when we say bibliography, it is taken from the Greek word biblion, which means book, and graphia, which means to write. A bibliography contains an alphabetical list of sources like books, periodicals, and websites used by the writer or researcher. A research paper should contain a bibliography written on a separate page and should be located at the end of the paper. Each entry uses a hanging indentation, also known as a second line indentation. And there are many styles or formats in citing or listing sources, depending on the subject. And we have here, next, the citation styles. First is the American Psychological Association or the APA style, which is used in social and behavioral sciences. Next is the Modern Language Association or the MLA style, which is used for writing papers on literature and related subjects like theater or film. And lastly, the Chicago Manual of Style or the CMOS, which is often used in many academic fields, especially in the humanities and social sciences. And in this module, we will follow the bibliography annotation standard specified in Chicago Manual of Styles 17th edition. And we have here the types or formats of sources of information, such as the print sources and the online sources. So when we say print sources, these are the sources that have been published in printed format, such as books and periodicals. Then when we say online sources, these refer to any materials or information taken from the internet. Other terms for online sources are electronic sources, web sources, and internet sources. The difference between the two is that when we say print sources, these are tangible, meaning we can hold it. And when we say online sources, these are the intangible sources. It can only be seen in the social media or in your computer, which means these are only soft copies. Let's have the first for the print sources, books. These are the most common and reliable sources of information. We say it is common because we all know that books are readily available, not just in school, in the libraries, in bookstores, but also in your home. And we consider the books as the most reliable sources of information because before books were printed, it was checked by the editors. And the sample format of writing a book bibliography is this: author's last name and first name, or the writer's name. Take note that if you are going to write the author's name, you should write the last name first before the first name. And it is followed by the title of the book, the subtitle, place of publication, name of publisher, and year of publication. So let's check the example here. As you can see, we have here two types of format. First is books with one author, and the next one is books with 2 to 10 authors. We have here a book entitled Language and Literature. Then the subtitle is Grade 8 Learner's Textbook, followed by the author, name of publisher, and the copyright year and the place the books were published. Okay, so for books with one author, we can see here that it has one or more authors, and it has four authors. So we will follow the second format in writing the bibliography, which is the books with 2 to 10 authors. And please take note of the names of the authors. It was written in a format wherein the last name comes first, just like what we have here. Cruz Lourdes, comma, D. Armando, comma, Perez Jose, and Rubio Nancy. So those are the names of the authors. Then it was followed by the title of the book and the subtitle. The title of the book is Language and Literature, Grade 8 Learner's Textbook. And the place where it was published is the Quezon City, and the name of the publisher is Cruz Publishing House Incorporated, followed by the year of publication, which is 2015. And if we will follow the first format wherein we will just acknowledge the first author, we are just going to write the name of Cruz Lourdes, followed by the title of the book, which is the Language and Literature Grade 8 Learner's Textbook. Then the place it was published, Quezon City. Then the name of the publisher, Cruz Publishing House Incorporated, and followed by the year of the publication, which is the 2015. And we have here tips in writing bibliography, especially if the authors of the book are more than two or more. So two or more authors should be listed in the order as they appear as authors and not necessarily alphabetically. So again, do not write the names of the authors in alphabetical order. It should be written as it appear in the book. And for sources with more than 10 authors, include only the first 7 in the bibliography, followed by et al. Or the et al., a Latin phrase which means and others. Again, if the authors has more than 10 authors, or if the book has more than 10 authors, the seventh name should be followed by the et al. Next, for the print sources is the periodicals. So these are the magazines, scholarly journals, newspapers, and newsletters published at regular intervals. Publication dates are essential when citing periodical sources. And periodicals has 3 types. First one is the journal. It is a scholarly published periodical containing articles written by researchers, professors, and other experts. And this is the sample format of writing a journal bibliography. Author's last name and first name, title of article, journal title, then the issue information. Okay, so let's check the example that we have here. Alright, so as you can see, we have here the name of the author, which is written in a last name first basis, Martinez Juana. Then the title of the article, Distance Learning Amidst COVID-19, followed by the journal title, which is the Journal of Studies in Philippine Education, then followed by the issue information, which is number 2, 2019, and the page range, which is pages 23 to 35. So that's how you are going to write the bibliography of the journal under the periodicals. Next, for the periodicals is the magazine. It is a periodical publication that contains stories, essays, pictures, and the like, usually published every week or month. What follows is the sample format of writing a magazine bibliography. So take note of the format here. Again, author's last name and first name, followed by the title of article, the magazine title, then the issue date. Okay, so from the sample, we have the name of the author, that is Alisbo Thea, followed by the title of the article, which is Finding New Hobbies in Time of Quarantine, followed by the magazine title, which is The Young Mind Creatives, then the issue date, and it is June 2020. So that's how simple you are going to write the bibliography for magazine. And lastly, the third type for periodicals is the newspaper. It is a periodical that is printed and distributed usually daily or weekly, containing news, opinions, features, and advertisements. And this is the sample format of writing a newspaper bibliography. Again, author's last name and first name, followed by the title of article, newspaper name, month, day, and year. Take note of the format on how to write the issuance date. And let's check the example. Okay, so this is an example of periodicals for newspaper. And the format is, the author's last name and first name is Paran Leonardo, followed by the title of article, which is Filipino Student Bags Trophy in International Quiz B, followed by the newspaper name, that is Caraga Sinag Press, and the month, day, and year of its issuance is July 17, 2018. Alright, so we're done with the print sources. Now let's move to the online sources. So when we say online sources, these are available online, okay? And the first example that we have is the website. This refers to the collection of files and related resources accessible through the World Wide Web, or the www, and organized under a domain name. And this is the example format of writing a website bibliography. So the author's last name and first name first, the page title, the website title, the published date or access date, and the URL. When we say URL, this means the Uniform Resource Locator, or this is the words that you are going to type in the search engine for you to search directly in the website. Let's have our sample for website. As you can see, we have the author's name, Orculio Ramon Jr., followed by the page title, which is The Solid Faith, website title, which is the Department of Education, Caraga Region, followed by the published date, June 2, 2020, and the URL, http://deped.gov.ph/solid-path/. So that's how you are going to write the bibliography for online sources, which is the website. Next, for the online sources is the ebooks or the electronic books. So these are books that are read on a computer or electronic devices. So it can also be read in your cell phones. They are cited exactly as a printed book with the addition of a format at the end of the citation: Kindle, PDF, EPUB, etc. If books are referred online, include the URL at the end of the citation. This is the sample format of writing an ebook bibliography. First is the author's last name and first name, followed by the title of the book, place of publication, name of publisher, year of publication, and lastly, for the format is the URL. And we have the example here. The author's last name and first name. We have more than one authors here. So we have first Solis Anna May, comma, De La Cruz Christopher, and Dizon Jane. And it is followed by the title of the book, How to Improve Your Reading Skills, followed by the place of publication, which is Manila, and the name of publisher, Teams Publishing Company, and followed by the year of publication, which is 2018. And for the URL or the format is EPUB or the EPUB. So if the ebooks don't have the or does not or is not available online, you can just write the format, whether it is EPUB, Kindle, PDF, or etc. But if it's available online, you should write the URL or the Uniform Resource Locator, just like what we have in the website. And did you notice that the book, the printed book, and the ebook have the same format of writing a bibliography? All right, very good. And next for online sources is the online journals. These are journals read from digital libraries or online databases. And this is the example format of writing an online journal bibliography. First is the author's surname or last name, first name, followed by the article title, followed by the journal title, volume, number, issue once date or year, page range of article, then URL of journal article, web page, or name of database. So let's check the example. Okay, so we have a lot of authors here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 authors. Um, uh, because the authors don't reach the number 10 or it has only 8 authors, we still need to write the names of the authors. So the authors are Juma Novi, comma, De Lima Eileen Grace, comma, Albiola Pedro de Fort, and Bayoga Emma Ruth, followed by the article title, which is the utilization of alugbati rather, Basella alba L, followed by the journal title, Leaves Powder to Increase Vitamin A Content of Fresh Egg Noodles, Philippine Journal of Science, Volume 149, number 2, 2020, and the page range is 273 to 281, and it is followed by the URL of the journal article, as you can see in our screen. All right. And lastly, for the online sources or the online magazine and online newspaper. Magazine and newspaper in online just have the same format. That's why we have these two as our last examples for the online sources. Okay, so when we say online magazine and online newspaper, these are the online versions of magazines and newspaper. Both sources have the same format in writing a bibliography entry. And this is the sample format of writing an online magazine and newspaper bibliography. Again, we have the author's last name, first name, followed by the article title, newspaper or magazine title, month, day, year, and the URL or the Uniform Resource Locator. So let's have the example first for the online magazine. Okay, so as we can see here, the sample that we have is the author's name. Okay, Bautista John Michael, followed by the article title, which is the homeschooling, how to be the best tutor to your kids, followed by the magazine title, which is the Filipino magazine, and the title, month, and day of the issuance or publication is May 19, 2020, followed by its URL or the Uniform Resource Locator, which is https www.filipinomag.com/parenting/homeschooling how to be the best tutor to your kids slash. So that's how you are going to write the bibliography for online magazine. Okay, so lastly, we have the online newspaper. And as we can see in the example, we have the author's name, Orculio Ramon. The article title is Misor Remains COVID-19 Free, DOH. And the newspaper title is Sinag Press, followed by the month, day, and year of issuance, which is June 14, 2020, and the URL https sinagpress/news/2020 /6/14 misor remains covid-19 free doh.html. So that's how you are going to write the bibliography for online newspaper and magazine. All right, congratulations. We're done with the discussion of our lesson. So now to check if you really understand our lesson, let's have first a practice before we go through in our assessment or in our activity. So we have here the direction. You need to arrange and write the following list of sources or references to form a correct bibliography. So I will give you enough time for you to answer the practice activity that we will have. Again, you are just going to rearrange and write the list of sources or references to form a correct bibliography. So let's start. Okay, so for number 1, we have books. Time starts now. Time's up. And the answer is author's names Timong Gregorio and Impas Juana, followed by the title of the book, Jose Rizal, a genius and national hero, followed by the publication place, Metro Manila, the publishers, Mega Publishing Incorporated, and the date or the year it was published, which is 2014. So for number 2, we have the journal. Time starts now. Time's up. The answer is the authors' names are Aquino Maria, Santos Soledad, and Cruz Jose, followed by the title of the article, The Advancement of Women Empowerment in the Philippines, followed by the title of the journal, Journal on Social Studies, Volume 8, then the number of issuance, number 1, the year, 2011, then the page range is 54 to 58. Number 3 is magazine. Time starts now. Time's up. The answer is name of author, Miranda Antonio. Title of the article, The Ruins in Bacolod City. Magazine title, Mabuhay Philippines. Then the date of publication is January 2018. Next is number 4, online newspaper. Time starts now. Time's up. The answer is author's name, Lopez Melissa Luz, followed by the title of the news, quarantine rules for provinces may be relaxed further after June 15 by Roque. And next is the issuance date, CNN Philippines, June 8, 2020, and the URL or the Uniform Resource Locator, as you can see in our screen. Lastly, for website, time starts now. Time's up. The name of the author is Durango Fe. The title of the article is Keeping a Strong Faith, Serving Others as Serving God. The date of issuance is March 8, 2016. Then the URL is https://serving-others-as-serving-God. So that's how our practice ends. Now let's have the assessment or our activity. Please prepare your one whole sheet of paper and also your module with you as your reference. Alright, so it's activity time. You have to answer the following on a one whole sheet of paper. You need to copy and answer. Okay, so the first activity that you have is activity number 3. The title is Fill Me Out. It can be seen on page 17. Okay, so again, you need to copy the things to be answered before you answer it. Okay, so the instruction for activity 3 is fill in the missing information to complete the format of each source. So you just need to fill in the missing information. Okay, and next is the assessment on page 20 to 22. In this activity, you just need to write the letter of the correct answer, and it is 1 to 15 item. And lastly is the essay part. Okay, so in essay, this is what you are going to answer. I believe writing a bibliography is important because, okay, so you just have to supply the words, the phrases that you need here to support the statement that you believe that writing a bibliography is important. Why is it important? How can it help you as a student? Especially in writing research papers, or if you are going to search on specific articles or any news or any stories or any reading materials, whether it is printed or online. So that's it. That's how you are going to answer your activity. So if you have any question or queries, please don't hesitate to ask me. Send me a personal message in my messenger, and also you can ask me in our group chats. Okay, just observe the official time on sending messages to me or in our GC. Alright, so this has been Ma'am Rovilyn Manikis, your English 8 teacher. That's all for this module, and keep safe, learners, and God bless us all. Again, if you have any question, you may send me a personal message in my messenger. Goodbye!